In Matthew's birth narrative of Jesus Christ, he writes, "All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel," which means God with us. Matthew chapter 1, verse 22 and 23. Have you ever wondered if God really exists, or struggle with the idea that God is with you, just like the text said, God with us? You see, many people don't believe in the idea of the existence of a creator, let alone being able to say, God is with us. One of the reasons is that we cannot see God in the physical sense of seeing. In the year 1963, February, a famous author by the name of C.S. Lewis published an essay exploring a number of topics related to space travel, including the idea of finding God in space. This was in response to the story that Russian cosmonauts have traveled to space and didn't find God. Lewis commented that looking for God by exploring space is like reading or seeing all of Shakespeare's plays in the hope of finding the author Shakespeare himself in the play. Lewis stated, "If God does exist, He is related to the universe more as an author is related to a play than as one object in the universe is related to another. If God created the universe, He created space-time, which is to the universe as the meter is to a poem, or the key is to music. To look for Him as one item within the framework which He Himself invented is nonsensical." End quote. Other people have compared this to the idea of trying to find Mr. Henry Ford inside the engine of the Ford vehicle that he invented. It is indeed nonsensical to expect to find the Creator within the object that He created. The question then is, how could anyone find the Creator? How could anyone ever reach God? Or how could anyone ever say that God is with us? The simple answer is that we cannot find God unless He chooses to reveal Himself. Coming back to the analogy of Shakespeare and his play, the only way the characters in the play or the book can meet the author is if the author writes himself into the play. In some ways, that is what God has done in the story of Jesus, the incarnation of God into the human family. We find God, the author of the universe, writing Himself into this story, where we, as the human family, could see Him and interact with Him. That is why Matthew stated in the Gospel that God is with us, because He saw Him, He met Him, and He interacted with Him. So, no matter what you are going through today, remember to look at God in the person of Jesus Christ. In this season when we celebrate the story of the birth of Jesus over 2,000 years ago in the town of Bethlehem of Judea, let us be reminded that we can have hope for our future, hope for a better world, and hope for eternal life, because the God who created this universe, the author of all of our stories, have written Himself into our history and have promised to journey with us all the way. May you be filled with hope in that promise of God in the person of Jesus, who came into our world and who is going to come again soon. I invite you to share with others this wonderful news of Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us.